Hello everyone, welcome back to Movies Reloaded. Today we are going over a movie from 2004 called Saw. This is one of the biggest horror thrillers there is, so with no more hold-ups, strap in and let's get into it. A man named Adam wakes up in a bathtub and finds his ankle chained to a water pipe. He calls for help around in the dark room when a voice comes from across the room saying that it is no use calling for help as he has already tried but found nothing. The man from across the room finds a switch and turns on the lights. With the room now bright, they see a man lying on the floor with his face smashed, holding a gun and a mini cassette player. Seeing the dead body of a possible suicide victim, their urge to get free increases, and Adam starts to pull harshly on the chain. The other man says that it is no use pulling on the chain as he has already tried it, and he introduces himself as Dr. Lawrence Gordon. The doctor asks what the last thing he remembers is, and they both find that the last thing in their minds is being safe in their respective houses. Adam thinks that they are here because someone wants to sell their organs and asks Gordon to check for any scars, but they find nothing. Gordon says that whoever brought them here must have wanted something from them, so instead of thinking about how they got here, they should try to find something. He points at a brand new wall clock and says that their kidnapper wants them to know the time. Adam starts to look around and finds a cassette in his pocket. Gordon also follows suit and finds a cassette of his own. They also find a key which they try to use to open the chain, but both attempts fail. They decide to take the player from the dead man's hand, and Adam uses his shirt and then uses the drain chain from the bathtub to play his cassette. In his cassette, a man talks and says that Adam might die in this room, so he should do something to save himself. In fear of breaking the player, he asks Gordon to throw his cassette and play it. In Gordon's recording, the kidnapper says that Gordon's family, his wife and a daughter, are in custody, and if he doesn't kill Adam by 6 PM, his family will die and he will rot in this room. Gordon asks for the recorder and carefully listens to it. He hears a whisper saying to follow their heart. He looks around and finds a heart on the flush tank. He asks Adam to look in it and they find a bag with 2 hacksaws. They both rush to cut the chains, but Adam's saw breaks, which makes Gordon realise that saws are meant for their feet and not for the chains. Gordon says that he might have known who did this because he was the suspect in the case. A few months ago, the police found a series of murders with most of the victims murdered brutally. The victims usually had to find an escape to get themselves free, as it seems the killer likes to play games. On one crime scene, police found a penlight. Gordon was in his office discussing a patient's case when the detectives came to him to interrogate the murders. They told him that they found his penlight on a crime scene and would like his full cooperation. Gordon has an alibi, but he was reluctant to tell them about it. When his lawyer advised him to tell them about the alibi, he agreed and provided his alibi, which got him out of suspicion. But detectives Singh and Tapp asked him to view the testimony of the only survivor of this killing, a girl named Amanda. The girl was tied with a metal helmet that could break her jaw, and she had to find the key in a man's stomach. She had managed to cut through the man's stomach and find the key, so she survived. After Gordon got released, the detectives remained on the case and, following the clues in Amanda's video, found a warehouse. In the warehouse, they found a victim tied to a chair with drills slowly going towards him. They hid in the house and managed to catch the culprit, but he cut the throat of Detective Tapp, and when Singh went behind the culprit, leaving the injured Tapp there, he walked right into the gun trap of the culprit and got himself killed. In the present, Adam and Gordon find that they are being watched through a camera. As they start to talk about Gordon's family, he tosses his wallet towards Adam to show him the pictures of his daughter Diana. In the wallet, Adam finds a picture of Gordon's wife and daughter being held, along with a note saying that sometimes we find a clue with our eyes closed. He hides the picture and gives Gordon's wallet back. Meanwhile, Gordon's wife Alison and daughter Diana are being held captive in their house by a man holding a gun to their heads. Detective Tapp, who got discharged from the police when Detective Singh got killed, still believes that Gordon is the serial killer and is watching the doctor's house on his own. Adam and Gordon are getting frustrated with their situation, as Gordon thinks that Adam knows something and is not telling him. Adam asks him to turn off the lights for a second, and when the room goes dark, they are supposed to look for something glowing on the wall. Behind Gordon, Gordon breaks a portion of a wall that was glowing and finds a box inside. He opens it with the key they had found earlier and finds a cell phone, a lighter, and 2 cigarettes inside. Gordon also finds a note saying that he can kill Adam without using a gun. Adam asks for cigarettes, but Gordon refuses and tries to make a call. But he soon realizes that the phone is only meant to receive calls. Gordon recalls how he got kidnapped and says that he was coming back from the office when he felt that there was someone else in the parking lot besides himself. Then a pig-masked man came out of nowhere, and I don't remember much after that. Gordon then says that Adam is still not telling him how he knew to turn off the lights. When he pressed Adam, he showed him the picture of his wife and daughter and said that he couldn't muster the courage to show it to him. Gordon gets desperate and thinks of a plan as he soaks a cigarette in the poisonous blood of the dead man and asks Adam to go along with his plan. He gives the other cigarette to Adam, showing the camera that it is a poisoned one. Adam follows the instruction and plays dead after choking a little. But he gets electrocuted and wakes up, crashing their plan. Adam also remembers being kidnapped. He came back from work that day and found a puppet in his room, where he has photos of Gordon. As Gordon is trying to cut the chains in his desperation to get out, he receives a call on the phone. His daughter Diana talks to him, crying, and she says that she is scared because there is a man in their house holding a gun. Alison then comes on the phone and tells Gordon not to believe Adam's lies. When Gordon confronts Adam about it, he reveals that he is a photographer who gets paid for taking pictures of famous people. And he also got paid to take pictures of Gordon. He explains the appearance of the man who paid him, which makes Gordon realise that it was Detective Tapp who was paying Adam. He tells Gordon that he also knows about his affair with a student. Listening to this, Gordon only deduces that his affairs might be the reason he is here. Adam looks at the pictures he took last night and finds a man in one of them. Gordon sees it and recognises the man as Zepp from his hospital. Adam looks at the clock and realises that it is already 6 o'clock. At Gordon's house, Zepp attacks Alison without knowing that she had freed herself earlier. Alison fights with Zepp, and their noises alert Tapp, who comes in time and saves them. After a fight with Zepp, the detective chases him, but gets shot in the chest instead. On the other side, Gordon is listening to the gunshots and fighting, so he thinks his family got killed. Enraged and desperate, he cuts off his foot, takes the gun from the dead man, and shoots Adam, who luckily survives. When Zepp comes into the bathroom to kill Gordon, Adam attacks him with a toilet tank lid and kills him. Gordon gets out of the bathroom to find an escape, while Adam searches for Zepp to find something. He finds a cassette there, which is another note from the killer, revealing that Zepp is another part of the killer's game as he is trying to find the antidote for the poison he is injected with. Suddenly, the dead body on the floor stands up. He says that he is the real killer, John Kramer, and tells Adam that he flushed his key in the bathtub when he woke up. Adam tries to shoot him with Zepp's gun, but he gets electrocuted again, while the killer leaves him there to die and goes away after saying, "Game over." If you like this film, please consider giving us a sub and a like, it really helps us out. Please leave a comment in the section below on what you would like to see next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello and welcome back to Movies Reloaded. Today is a great one. We are recapping the movie called Saw 2 from 2005. It is a horror thriller, so sit back and relax. With no more delays, let's get into it. A man wakes up and finds himself hooked to a metal mask with nails in it. A video plays on the monitor in front of him, in which a masked man addresses him as Michael. The man says that he has lived his life watching others and being an informant, so the thing that is most important to him has the key to saving his life. The man says that he will give him a hint and shows an X-ray on the machine, revealing a key inside Michael's eye. Michael desperately wants to save his life but couldn't muster the courage to open the mask, so it closes on his face, killing him. A police officer named Matthews bails his son Daniel out of the station. He scolds his son for getting himself into trouble and says that his mother has his custody, and he has to get him out of custody. They argue a little and part on bad terms after Matthew shouts at his son. He tries to call Daniel after coming back home but can't reach him. His phone rings after a while, and he quickly picks it up, thinking it's his son, but instead it's another detective, Alison Kerry, who tells him about a murder. At the crime scene, he finds that the victim is his informant, Michael. Kerry says that the pattern of murder matches Jigsaw's way of killing, but they should start from the beginning, and she asks Matthew to think of someone who can be an enemy of Michael. Looking around the scene, they find a message that says, "Look closer, Detective Matthew." Alison wants Matthew to help them in the case as he is connected to it, but he refuses and goes home, where he has a dream about the day's events and remembers the manufacturing company's name on the mask. Matthew goes to the station and tells them about it. They immediately arrange a SWAT team and attack the factory. The 3 soldiers go ahead but get stuck in a trap set in a metal cage that leads the way to the next room. The whole team follows them and carefully proceed forward where they find John Kramer, the Jigsaw killer. They quickly handcuff him and try to take him away, but he says that he will have to stay here until Matthew deals with his problem, and says that the answer to his problem is in the room across from them. The team goes into the room where they find monitors playing a video of a room where some people are being held down. Matthew recognizes the prisoner as his son Daniel and angrily goes back to John, who tells him that he has 2 hours to save his son or he will die from the nerve agent he has been inhaling in that room. In the room, they all wake up and are shocked to find themselves in a strange place. Among them is Amanda, the only survivor of Jigsaw's games. Having experienced going through such a situation before, she quickly starts to look around and finds a tape recorder, which confirms her suspicions that she is again in one of Jigsaw's games. They play the audio and find that they are inhaling a nerve agent that will kill them in 2 hours. The man in the audio says that the antidotes are scattered around the house and one is inside the box in front of them. The box can be opened with the numbers that are in the back of everyone's mind as they are all connected in some way. They find a key with a note asking them not to use it to open the door. Amanda warns them not to use it as they have to play by Jigsaw's rules, but a man still uses the key, which fires the gun in the trap, and the man dies after getting shot in the head. Amanda tells them that it's a game and their killer wants them to survive, so they have to follow his rules. She tells them that she knows this because she has been in a game before. Back at the factory, John talks to Matthew and says his son is in trouble, so if he wants to save him, he has to listen to John. John says that he wants to talk to him, but he has to be with him alone. Matthew refuses at first, but Alison convinces him that he should buy them a little more time to find a way to save the people. He agrees and goes back to talk with John, who says that he wants to play a game, and the rule is simple. Matthew just has to sit and listen to him. John reveals that he is a cancer patient. John says he's never killed a person in life because he always gave them a chance to save themselves. He says to Matthew that when people know about their death, their perspective on their life changes. He reveals that he attempted to commit suicide after he found out that he has cancer and the incident caused him to have a new appreciation for life. He wants his victims to have the same appreciation, so he plays these games with them. Meanwhile, in the room, everyone is trying to find the antidote. The door opens slowly and they carefully go out. They find a flashlight in the corridor and find a door with the word exit on it, but when they try to open it or even break it, they fail. After Amanda turns on the light, they finally find a door that leads to the basement. In there, they find a body with a piece of paper clasped to its clothes. The paper reads Obi, and the man reveals that he is Obi. They find a cassette for Obi that says that for years he played games with people, so now it's time for him to play a game. The tape also reveals that Obi helped the man kidnap these people. The kidnapper says that the furnace in front of them has 2 antidotes. One of which is a gift for Obi and the other is for him to donate, but one of the antidotes comes as the price. Obi goes inside the furnace and finds the antidotes, but when he tries to pull one of them, the door to the furnace closes and a fire starts inside. They all try to open it to save him, but fail, and he dies after getting burned, and the antidotes also burn in the fire. The people inside the room start to get sick, and their desperation to get out is increasing. A man comes into the room where Amanda and Daniel are, and tell them that they found another door. The door is not locked, but it is stuck on something, and when they open it, a timer starts, indicating that they have 4 minutes in the room. They find a player again, and this time it is for another man, Xavier. The voices ask Xavier to go inside a pit filled with syringes and find a key to open the metal door in time, or it will be locked forever. Xavier doesn't go inside himself and instead throws Amanda inside, who finds the key. But before Xavier could open it, the timer ends. They say that they have to find the connection between them, and the only thing they can come up with is that Daniel, who they are with, has been incarcerated. On the other side, John talks to Matthews and reveals that he knows Matthew is a corrupt police officer who frames innocent people. John tells them about the file, including the information about all the people Matthew has framed. Surprisingly, they are the ones stuck in the game with Matthew's son. Xavier returns to the room where they have been from the start and finds a number on Gus's neck, the man that died from the gun trap. He figures that the number is the code to save the antidotes, so to keep them for himself, he kills another prisoner and goes to find the remaining ones. A woman named Laura finds out the truth about Daniel, but before she could tell anyone, she died from the effects of the nerve agent. Another woman, Addison, gets trapped while trying to get the antidote she found in a glass box. Xavier finds her alive but leaves her after reading her numbers, not caring if she dies. Amanda and Daniel are working together, and after searching around for a while, they find a tunnel that ends at a bathroom that contains dead bodies and the foot of someone. Xavier soon finds them, but before he could attack them, Amanda says to him that no one will read his number and he will never find it. Desperate to find numbers, Xavier cuts the skin off his neck and goes to attack them after reading the number, but Daniel retaliates and kills him with a hacksaw. Matthew is watching all of this and gets furious after seeing his son struggling. He attacks John and forces him to take him to where the victims are being held. The SWAT team also follows them, and when they get there, Allison realizes that the videos are pre-recorded because she can't see them on a screen. She finds Daniel in the safe there, breathing through an oxygen mask. Meanwhile, Matthews gets kidnapped by a pig-faced figure when he reaches to find Daniel. He wakes up, chained to a pipe, and finds a tape recorder, which is recorded by Amanda, who reveals that after surviving the trap, she became John's partner, as she had to continue his work after he died. Amanda then locks the door, leaving Matthew to find his escape, while John smiles after hearing his screams. This is the end. What a movie! Let us know what you thought of it in the comments. Please subscribe, like the video and hit the bell icon. It's free and it means you will be notified when we post a new video. Thank you very much and take care. We will see you in the next one. Hello everybody and welcome back to Movies Reloaded. Today we are recapping a film called Saw 3. This is a 2006 intense horror. With no more delay, let's get into it. Detective Matthews wakes up in the bathroom and finds himself chained to the pipes. After looking around, he finds a hacksaw and tries to cut his chains, but fails. He sees a foot lying around on the floor and figures that he has to cut his foot, so he uses the toilet lid to break his foot. A few months later, the SWAT team, led by Daniel Rigg, finds a room with a person's remains in it. They figure it out to be one of Jigsaw's murders and call Detective Allison to the crime scene. Allison is still recovering from what's happened with Matthews, and even though his case is marked as a missing persons case, she blames herself for the situation. In a recent case, they found pieces of a body that were the result of an explosion. The body belongs to a man named Troy, who wakes up and finds the chain pierced into his skin. He had 1 minute to rip the chains to find a key or a bomb will explode, but he fails to save himself and dies from the explosion. At the crime scene, Allison asks them how they found the body, to which Daniel says that someone heard the explosion, so they came here and cut open the door because it was sealed. Hearing that, Allison says that it contradicts Jigsaw's game rules because he keeps a way for them to get out. They find the video from the scene, which reveals that it was Jigsaw's victim. Allison comes back home with the tape, and as she is watching it, her monitor starts to play her live footage. She looks around the monitor screen, and a pig-masked face appears behind her, and she passes out. Allison wakes up in a room while hanging by the chains that are also hooked around her body. A video starts playing on a monitor, and a man with the mask says that she likes to observe and understand dead people more than life. So this is her chance to get to her true family, the dead. He then says that the frame she is hooked to is linked with the video, and as it will end, her timer of 2 minutes will start. She has to get a key from an acid bottle in front of her and unlock herself in that time. She takes out the key but fails to open the lock, and as the timer ends, she eventually dies from the trap she was in. In the next scene, Dr. Lynn goes to her job early that day, where she saves a trauma patient with her quick analysis. A nurse says that she looks spaced out, so she should take a rest or get herself checked by the psychiatric department. As she goes into the lockers to change her uniform, the door gets locked from the outside, and a pig-masked man appears behind her. She wakes up tied to a wheelchair filled with different equipment. The pig-masked person takes off the mask, revealing Amanda, his new acquaintance. Amanda threatens her with a knife, asking her to behave, and then takes her inside, where John is hooked up to other machines and a heart monitor. John tells her that he was a patient at her hospital once, but she doesn't remember him. He says that his condition is not as good as she can see, and asks her to tell him how much time he has left. Lynn tells him that she has to examine, first to make a diagnosis, but the cancer he has can be unpredictable. John says that he wants to play a game with her. The rules are simple for the game, but the consequence will be her death. Amanda hooks a collar with 5 shotgun shells around Lynn's neck. And John tells her that it is linked to his heart monitor, so if it stopped or Lynn went away, the collar would activate. They then tell her that there is another subject of John's experiment in a box, and she has to keep him alive until the man completes his tests. If the man goes out and John is still alive, then Lynn will be free. John says that she is a vital part of what could be his final test. Jeff is still suffering through his son's death, who died in his arms after getting hit by a drunk driver. At home, he doesn't let his daughter touch anything that belongs to Dylan, his son. He is sitting in his room after a regular day when a pig-masked man appears behind him and he passes out. Jeff wakes up in a wooden box where he finds a tape recorder. The audio says that he became a shell after his son's death, and that is all because of a drunk driver. He will have the chance to confront the driver, but to reach him he will have to go through a series of tests. And with each one he will suffer and have the chance to forgive. And at the end of all his tests he will face the driver. Jeff starts his test and breaks the wooden box. After looking around the room he finds a woman hanging naked in a plant freezer and being sprayed repeatedly with freezing water. He finds a tape recorder there, which reveals that the woman's name is Danica Scott, and she is the only witness to his son's death, but she refused to testify in court for him. He can save her after finding the key, and that is the first test. He hesitates to open the lock and blames Danica for not letting his son find justice. Danica says that she's only human and manages to convince Jeff to open her lock. He finds the key, but before he could open the lock, she freezes to death. He continues to move forward and goes inside a room where he hears a man shouting for help. He looks around and finds a man chained at the bottom of a vat. The audio from the audio tape reveals the man to be the judge who gave the lenient punishment to the drunk driver. The audio says that Jeff can save him, but for that, he'll have to burn his son's toys. As the audio ends, a shredder starts where rotten pigs are being thrown into the vat. Jeff makes his decision and receives a key after burning his son's toys. He opens the chains on the judge and pulls him out of the vat. Next, he finds the drunk driver, Timothy Young, who had killed his son. The driver is trapped in a machine that is slowly twisting his head and limbs. From the audio, he finds that the key is tied to the trigger of a shotgun. As he pulls the key, the gun goes off and kills Judge Holden. Jeff retrieves the key but fails to save Timothy in time, and he gets killed when the machine snaps his neck. Meanwhile, Lynn talks to Amanda and says that John's brain is herniating, so they have to move him to the hospital. Amanda refuses, but suddenly John starts to throw up and starts choking. Lynn acts quickly and saves him in time. She then says to Amanda that John needs to get operated on, to which Amanda agrees, but says that Lynn will have to do the operation here. She asks for the things that Lynn will need and arranges them all for Lynn to operate on John. Lynn operates on John in that worn-out room and cuts his brain with a drill. John almost dies during the operation, and in his state, he remembers his wife and says, "I love you." They both hear him saying that, but Amanda thinks he is saying that to Lynn, which makes her jealous. She remembers her previous interactions with John and the murders she helped him with. When John wakes up, he asks Amanda to unlock Lynn's collar, but she refuses to follow the order. John asks her again, but she refuses and reveals that she doesn't believe in his theory anymore. And that she also manipulated the traps set by Troy and Allison. She points a gun at Lynn and shoots her, even though John tries to stop her. Soon, Jeff arrives in the room and reveals Lynn's husband. After seeing Amanda kill his wife, he uses the gun he found at the end of his tests and kills Amanda with it. After Amanda's death, John reveals to Jeff that he was testing Amanda instead of Lynn. He had found earlier that Amanda was going against him, so he didn't want a murderer to continue his experiment after him. He says that he will call an ambulance for Lynn if he has learned from his test. John also gives him one last test, saying that if Jeff can either forgive him or kill him. Jeff decides to kill John and cuts his throat, but fortunately that also triggers Lynn's collar, and she dies with him. Before taking his last breaths, John gives another recorder to Jeff. The audio reveals that Jeff's daughter, Corbett, is also captured and trapped. So John will have to save her, as it will be his very last test. Thank you for watching. What did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments. We would also love it if you subscribed and left us a like. And don't forget about the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when our next recap is released. We hope to see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And while you're here, consider subscribing. We would love to have you as part of our community.